What's up, guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, go ahead and drop the word twat waffle in the comments and hit the subscribe button because I'm just a little old YouTuber trying to make it in this big world. You know what I'm saying? I need a little bit of help. I will also leave my social media accounts in the comments in the description below. This is probably why I'm a small YouTuber trying to make it in this big world. But I will leave my social media handles in the comments so you guys can follow me on Snapchat, friend me on Snapchat, friend me on Facebook, follow me on Instagram, and we can like hang out and stuff, you know? But if you want to hear how I got burned firewalking and why I would ever firewalk, why would anyone ever firewalk, then go ahead and keep on watching and I'll get right into the video. So most of you guys know this past weekend I was at a convention, if you will. I don't know if it's called a convention. I don't even know what a convention is, but it was at the convention center, so we'll go with convention. Anyways, I was at this convention this weekend put on by Tony Robbins. If you don't know who Tony Robbins is, where have you been? But also, he's like a motivational speaker, life coach, knower of all things. Basically, he just knows everything about everything, and his like goal and mission is to help people find what they're truly meant to be on this earth for, and to help them work toward that and eliminating the excuses and the reasons why they don't think they can do it. So I went to this convention, and the first day is what's called the fire walk. I didn't know a whole lot about it going into it. I did Google it one time just because I had heard that we do it on the first night and I wanted to see what it was, and a ton of different like videos and articles came up about people like getting burned, like mass amounts of people, like a fire walk gone wrong. And so I was like, I probably shouldn't look at this right before I go to this convention that I'm wanting to like make the best out of, because I wasn't a huge believer in like the meditation, I am beautiful, I am smart, my farts smell pretty kind of thing. And so I was already really skeptical going into it. So I didn't want to sit here and read all these articles and watch all these videos about people getting hurt at his conventions and like getting third-degree burns and stuff. So the first day was spent just him showing us that we are able to snap ourselves into any state that we want to be in. So if we wake up in the morning and we're having a bad day, it is possible to physiologically and mentally switch your state just by focusing on something else or doing something different with your body. So he has proven this over the last like 42 years or something. So the first day was spent showing us that. And this is basically to show us that the quality of our life is based on our thoughts in our mind and what we choose to do with it. And so the intention of the fire walk is to show you that if you're scared, you are able to snap yourself out of that and get through it at any given time. So if you can talk yourself into or like change your state enough to walk across coals that are like, I think he said 1,200 to 2,000 degrees. If you can change your state enough to do that, then you can change your state enough to do anything. You know, like if you are wanting a raise at work and you're scared to talk to your boss about getting a raise at work, but you can talk yourself into walking across 2,000 degree hot coals, like you can talk to your boss about getting a raise at work. So that's the idea with that, is just being able to get over your fear, whatever that may be in life. The other thing that it like signified, I guess, was that when you start something and you like dive head first into it, like you're super passionate about it, you're following your dreams, you're loving what you're doing, and then an obstacle comes in your way, some people, myself included, their first instinct is just to stop where they're at and go back, or stop where they're at and just say, I'm good here, I don't need to go any further because I'm content here and I'm fine. So the fire walk is also to signify, once you step onto that fire, there's no turning back. Like you're not gonna stop in the middle of 2,000 degree burning hot coals, and if you do, you're an idiot. But, so you have to work yourself up to do the walk, you know, gain the courage, get over your fear to do the walk. And then once you get started, you have to keep going or else you're going to be in the pit of ashes just like the coals are. So not only that, but once you get to the end of the coals, knowing that you had to work yourself up so much to even do it, and then knowing that you conquered your fear and you did it and you're able to celebrate at the end was just really cool to relate to real life too, because I know there are so many things that I like want to take the risk on, but there's this and there's that and there's this and there's that, so I never do it. But then when I do the things that I know I'm taking a risk on and I get through it and I'm successful, I always come out so happy that I did it. And to me, I would rather try something a million times and fail than never try it and regret not doing it, you know? So that's what the fire walk was about. And like I said at the beginning, I was not about like the rah-rah, I am statements, positive thinking stuff. Like my personality is just like, get over it and do the damn thing, I guess. I don't know. I didn't know that there was like so much into the mind and how it works and what all is wrapped into it, whatever. Like I said, I'm gonna do a different video on that. So the whole time they're talking about the fire walk and he's like teaching us how to walk across it and people are like so scared and whatever. I guess I just hadn't really like processed it yet because I had no fear yet until he mentioned that he has scars on his feet from one of the times that he did it. He was newer at it, and basically the coals can either stick to the bottom of your feet or go between your toes. So I didn't realize that all that could happen. I thought it was just gonna be like walking on rock, like big rocks, so there was no way that could happen. But I guess my mind just didn't process the fact that it's gonna be like burning pieces of coal and they can obviously get stuck between your toes or on the bottom of your feet. And that freaked me out because I'm like, if I work myself up and I like conquer this fear and I have all this adrenaline going, which is what happened to him, and then he got to the end and his adrenaline was still pumping, so he didn't wipe his feet, and the coals that were stuck just like burned through his feet. So that was my worry, that that was gonna happen to me after he mentioned it. I didn't even think about it until he mentioned it, but he mentioned that, and so that freaked me out a little bit, but I was still like, whatever, you know. So he teaches you how to walk. He tells you to wipe your feet at the end. They also have a sprayer to spray off the coals. And then you go out to do your fire walk, and they have like, I don't know, to me it sounded like a marching band or like what you listen to, I don't know, like around a fire with a teepee. I don't know what I'm saying, but they had like drums playing, so when people were doing it, it was like exciting and empowering. But we waited in line for probably like an hour. There were 8,000 people there, so we waited in line for like an hour, and I was fine the entire time in line. And between my partner and I was the one that's like, yeah, let's do this, like no fear at all. I had forgotten about what he said about it sticking to the bottom of your feet. I forgot about it going between your toes. So I was pumped and ready. I was like, yeah, let's do this. Like I was seeing everybody else doing it and everybody else was cheering. And I was like ready to go. And then we're like 20 people from the front, and somebody came over to grab us and they were like, hey, come over here. So we went over there, and it was like we were first in line, and I was like, oh shoot, I don't know if I'm ready for this. Like once it became real, I was like, crap. But then they were like, okay, it's your turn. And I was like, okay. So I stepped up to the fire, and then it all became real. And I thought that I wasn't gonna do it. I thought I was just gonna chicken out, because I stepped up to the fire and the coals are so hot. Like my nose hairs were burning off just standing next to the fire. So I step up to the fire and I'm like, I can't do this. Like, I'm sorry, I can't do that. But they have like a hype man there for you, because I'm sure a lot of people chicken out once they get up to it. But they have like a hype man there for you, and he's just like telling you that you can do it and giving you like positive affirmations. This is why I'm not successful at YouTube, because I don't know vocabulary. But he was like saying like the positive stuff to like pump you up, you know, like you got this, and like you're strong, you're brave, you will conquer this and whatever. And he won't let you go until he can tell that you're ready, because if someone were to start and they weren't mentally ready and they stopped in the middle, or they tried to jump off or tried to go back or something, a lot of people could get hurt. I mean, it's 2,000 degree coals that they're standing on. So it could be really bad if the person that is walking across the firewalk isn't mentally ready for it. So he waits until you are completely ready. You cannot look down because it's scientifically proven that if you're looking down at the problem or at the obstacle or whatever you want to call it, that's what's going to bring the fear into your mind, and then you're going to stop or you're going to turn back or whatever. So part of conquering the fear is not looking directly at it. So you have to look straight up in the sky. Also, the coals can like stir up as well, and you don't want to get that in your eye, or like if you have contacts, you don't want to burn your eye, like burn it to your eye. But he has you look up, and then you start walking at a fast pace. So they teach you how to walk at the convention. I'm not going to go over that, but you start walking, and my first instinct, like the way people were talking there that had already done it, the way they were talking is that like you get this adrenaline rush and then you just don't feel anything, and then you're just like on the other side. But for me, that's not how it was, and I was expecting it to be like that, and so it freaked me out. But I stepped onto the coals and it was like, oh, this is hot. And then the next step I was like, oh yeah, this is pretty hot. 2,000 degrees hot, it's fine. And then my third step was with my left foot, and I was like, this is effing hot. And you could hear the skin on my foot sizzling. So when I stepped down, it was like legit. So my instinct was to like dig my foot in and go faster, which was the worst decision I could have made, because as soon as I dug my foot in, it just felt like it burned right through my foot. But I got to the other side, I wiped my feet, got them cleaned off, celebrated because I couldn't believe I even did it, because I thought I was gonna chicken out, but I also wanted to say that I walked on fire, you know? It's one of those things that like I can tell my friends' kids when they're like 5 and they think it's really cool. I did it, and once I got across, I realized that my foot was on fire. Not literally, but like figuratively. It was super hot and felt like it was burning. So we walked back to the convention center, and the pavement's all really hot because it was in Texas. So the pavement was all really hot. So the whole walk back, it was like a maybe 5-minute walk back, and I was like walking on the outsides of my foot because it felt like it burned right in the arch of my foot where your skin's really weak. Like the calluses aren't there like there on the rest of your feet. So it felt really, really bad walking back to the convention center. And then once we got inside and the floor was cold, it felt so good. But then I was able to sit down and look at my foot, and I didn't have a blister or anything, which the girl that walked with me, she had a small blister that it healed overnight, but she did have a small blister and I didn't have one at all. So it must not have been that bad, but I think that the hot pavement made it feel worse than it actually was. But yeah, that was my experience with firewalking. I would definitely do it again. I know that it's really popular in different cultures for their rituals and stuff. So I think it's something cool to do, you know, like you can say that you've done it, and also it just feels really good to like conquer something that you never thought you would do. And then the feeling of like when it's over and being able to celebrate, I feel like that's a feeling that I remember in my heart, in my head. And so in my real life, like when I accomplish something, I'm gonna get that same feeling. I think that's really cool to just like how they connect. But if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, or if you think I'm really cool and I have awesome hair and you like my hanging flowers, then give this video a thumbs up, and obviously subscribe to my channel. So I'm struggling a little bit here, okay? Been stuck at like 308 for a long time. But that's all, folks. And also, you have a really nice butt.